Once Miss Streetz say it, I rock with it, man. She one of those people on question. All right, we appreciate you.
Me and Miss Streetz, how you gonna do 'em like that?
Heavy caliber rhyme. Holding down the position. Heavy caliber rhyme. Holding down the position. Heavy caliber rhyme.
Let's go,
Yeah. Boston.
Nutso, Robb, I see you, baby.
Come on,
Cuban, I see you, baby.
Cuba on the beat.
That's right.
DJ Mista Sinista, come on. X-Man, what up? Let's get it.
You're watching another episode of Highly Respected with yours truly, Miss Streetz, and I'm here with a very, very dope, special, talented guest. So you go by two names, but I know Cuba on the beat, but we got Cee Da Cuban here. What's up?
Yeah. No, actually, for some reason on my Instagram is Cee Da Cuban, and then I got that tag of Cuba on the beat through Nutso, because Nutso was like, yo, you need to put a tag when you do your tracks so that they know it's you. So, I kind of come from the old school things, the way things are. And I kind of wasn't into put the tag in the front. I was like, yo, people know it's me eventually, whatever, So I was just like, so then it was kind of nuts. So that was like, no, you got to put that tag in the front of your beat so they know it's you. You're going to be cool on the beats. So that's kind of how that came about.
But you still go by Cee Da Cuban.
Yeah, Cee Da Cuban. Yeah, actually, yes.
Cool. Well, we know the music, we know the beats. And speaking of the beats and music, we have to get into the latest record that you produced, All In. Talk about that. Nutso's on it, Royal Flush. It's a bunch of people. Jake, what's his name? Jake
Palumbo.
Yes, Jake Palumbo, M. Dot. Go ahead about that record.
Yeah, Jake Palumbo, M. Dot, Robb P, the one Chadio from Crew, Mista Sinista on the cuts. Yeah, man, it's amazing because Flush is going through what he's going through right now. I know you know what's going on, right? Prayers up to Flush. He's doing his thing, regardless of what's going on. He's almost acting like nothing is going on because not everybody could deal with that in that fashion and the way he's doing his thing. It's like it's amazing to me.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we had done the record maybe like 6 months ago. We got in the studio and we started working on that All In record. But we didn't really know when we were going to actually put it out or when it was, when was the actual date, but it just started coming together. I had Sinista do some cuts over it, Mista Sinista. And once he did the cuts, everything kind of fell in place. Next thing you know, the one Chadio from Crew was on it. Nutso was on it. Robb P, of course. Flush had laid his verse already. Jake Palumbo and M. Dot from Boston.
Yeah.
So everything kind of came together. Because when you do group records like that, sometimes it takes a long time to get everybody on board. You know what I mean? Like the first three, like I had Nutso and I had Robb P in the studio at the time, so we knocked that out. Mm-hmm. And then Jake Palumbo, which runs Space Lab Recordings, he was he's an engineer, but he's an artist as well. So he did his verse as well. So we had them three, and then Flush did his verse a little bit after that. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, M. Dot's getting on it, Chadio. So, I had to wait for some verses to come in, but it all came together, It was just, but it's hard sometimes with those type of posse cuts for it to come together. And then for a video, even for a video that happened.
Right. You guys did a video as well, which was dope too.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to get all that together, it was amazing. I mean, because nowadays, it just takes long to get everybody on board with certain things. So I tend not to do too many like posse cuts. Not that I don't like to do them, because I do enjoy them, but sometimes it's hard to get everybody on board. Everybody moves at their own. Everybody moves at their own pace.
Right.
And sometimes we could get a little bit impatient because we want to get our thing done, and you're like, damn, this person holding me up. What's going on? I know you can relate to that.
I definitely understand. So All In is buzzing in the streets. Love the record. But let's go back to the beginning. How did you get started producing?
Actually, my first introduction into producing was I grew up in Corona, Queens, Jackson Heights, Queens, that whole area. And I had my man VIC from the Mighty VIC, he was actually affiliated with the Beat Nuts.
Mhm.
They were in our area. So when they first started working on their project, Vic was very involved and hands-on with Juju and Psycho Les, making the tracks, going to the studio. And I was actually involved because I was me and the Mighty VIC Vic was always hanging out together. So all these sessions were popping up, and I was going to these sessions, and this is like this is in the 90s, like early 90s.
Right.
So, I'm going to these sessions, I'm absorbing everything that's going around me and seeing what they was doing. And at the time I was actually an MC, so I wasn't really doing any production at the time. But I got so involved in going to these sessions that, it caught on, that I loved the production side of it.
Right. That's
yeah.
cool. So was it a certain producer that inspired you, or it's because of those sessions that really kind of triggered that love for it?
Oh yeah. Well, no. Well, the love was always there. I mean, I'd have to say Marley Marl. I mean, that's my favorite producer of all time. I got a few, but Marley Marl is the one that I really say, wow. Like my style, if you're gonna compare me, I'd go on that. That's who I really looked up to, and that's who I followed in hip hop as far as production goes.
Right. So I know you said you started around in the 90s. So question for you, and I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna let you answer it, obviously. Analog or digital?
I do, I tend to want that analog sound, but obviously we're living in digital world as well. So I kind of, I do both, because eventually I could start anything analog, right? Because I gotta, obviously I have an MPC, and I pretty much don't do beats on the computer per se. Like I don't use a click and a mouse, I don't click and mouse to make tracks. I use pads, I kind of do it the old way,
right.
Which I don't knock anybody who's doing it with a laptop or whatever your preference is. Hey, do your thing. Just make sure it sounds hot at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Right. So I pretty much I do both, because obviously we're not recording the 2-inch reels anymore.
Right.
It's very convenient for you to record vocals on a laptop, on a computer, on Pro Tools, on Logic, FL Studio, whatever you're using, to record music. So you can't knock it. I mean, to do vocals in the computer is so fast, amazing, the way you edit.
Right.
I mean, back then we had to use a 2-inch reel. If you messed up, you had to do it again. There was really no, computer now is like,
there was no punching in or anything.
yeah. And if there was some punching in, you had to get it right, because if it wasn't on point, they couldn't shift it, they couldn't move it back, they couldn't do nothing. It was what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say it's both worlds, because I start something maybe sounding analog, and then once you put it in the laptop, it's digital, but they got compressors, and then they can warm up stuff, make stuff sound warmer. So a lot of people get caught in between digital and analog, and they'll start saying this and that. But I feel if you got the vibe and the music is good, music is a feeling, right? So if it moves you and you're gonna feel it, whether it came out in analog or digital,
right,
it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely right. What's your favorite BPM to start off with, or to start?
For the most part, I stay around 85 to like 94, 95. I stay in that range, like 85 to 95, that type of range.
Cool. Any advice you would give to like upcoming producers?
Oh yes, because I'm guilty of it too. When I first started, like because I've been producing for a long time, but I never was hitting that mark that I was getting recognized for my work, right? So the best thing you could do is work, because this is not going to get handed to you. If you don't see stuff happening, it's really because you're not working. You know what I mean? You got to build the momentum and stick to it. Like I know a lot of people that are doing music, but they say they're doing music, but then they do stuff, and then a month or two passes by, you don't hear anything. There's no consistency. Right. So you build no type of momentum. And if you don't build any momentum from experience, things ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You have to build a momentum, and you have to be consistent. Listen, I know we all go through it. Family, life gets in the way, death, whole bunch of stuff will knock you off your throne, to say per se. You know what I mean? So you get knocked off your throne for a week or two or a month, it will throw you off.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like, when you get back, you don't know where you was at.
Yeah.
You know, that's my opinion. So if for those up and coming producers, stick to your guns, keep working, stay consistent, and that's the most important thing. When you stay consistent, it's like going to the gym. You continuously go to the gym. You might go there straight for a week. You might not see results, but if you're still there a month later, check in the mirror. You're gonna see results.
It'll be a big difference. Yep, definitely.
Big difference. Yeah.
So if you could work with one artist, let's just say this is your dream artist, and do an entire project all produced by you, who would that one artist be?
Wow. There's a few. Like,
Well,
I would love.
I'll let you
go
name
ahead.
two. Give me two then.
Kane would be one of them.
Hmm.
Big Daddy Kane, just because I was always a fan of his work. Obviously, Marley Marl produced all the early stuff as well.
Right.
So yeah, Kane definitely would be one. An MC that maybe not be mentioned a lot, but I got a lot of respect for him, and I love what he was doing. I love that his style today. You play one of his records and it still matches up today. Is Super Lover C, Casanova Rudd. I don't know if you know them brothers, but
Yeah, I definitely heard.
yeah, Super Lover C had this thing, like his flow, his cadence, like, and he was doing this back in the 80s, and I don't feel he gets recognized as much as he should be recognized. So I would love to do a project with Super Lover C.
That'd be dope. So why do
Yeah.
you think, because I hear a lot of producers saying they don't get a lot of they don't get recognized for records they do. What's your opinion on producers kind of playing the background, which in a sense it is, but what's your thoughts on producers wanting, I guess, more attention?
Yeah, I guess some people don't get. I think the producers getting a little bit more attention than they used to. But because like we were talking about the beat tags before and all that, once that came into play, I think that was the reason. That's why producers started using those beat tags, that their name comes up in the beginning of a production and stuff like that. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, because I know some feel like that, and that's like the DJ too. Like, a lot of people don't give respect. Some people don't really look at the DJ. They be like, nah, it's the MC, whatever. And I really don't believe that. I think the DJ is the big, the backbone of hip hop and music. And, they'll set the tone and they'll break records. And, it's not how it used to be, obviously, but I think it's still very important. So, yeah, the producer is very important as well, because he sets the tone. He sets the vibe. He creates that landscape, that instrumental. And and vice versa, because the MC adds his part to it, and then it becomes something that you're like, wow, I didn't really picture like this beat going in this direction, and this MC just blazed it with his lyrics, and now the beat is sounding like it went somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think yeah, the producer needs to get more props, obviously. But I think if you work hard enough and you're consistent and you're making music, like I said before, your name will get out there. People want to work with you. Your name will ring bells eventually.
Yeah. What's a valuable lesson that you learned later on in your career that you wish you would have learned at the beginning of your career?
A valuable lesson. What is that? I would say what I touched on before, the consistency, because I wasn't consistent. I've been doing this music for so many years, and I can't say that I was consistent. I was like on and off. So that was a big mistake on my part. I really should have, been a lot more consistent. But then again, you're younger, you're hanging out. Then eventually you get married, you have kids, then you're caught up with that scenario, and then you're just like doing it on and off, and it's like So I regret the part that I couldn't be more consistent when I was doing it. So for me, it would be that I would have wanted to be more consistent. I would have it would have worked better for me. You know what I mean? Now
Right.
it's like I'm playing catch up. I'm happy with what's going on, but I'm just saying it's like you're playing catch up now.
Right. So talk about protecting your music as the producer. How important is it to make sure your stuff is totally protected? So obviously no one steals your beats or anything like that.
Well, a lot of when you you could copyright your stuff as well, but I mean in my regard, people think I'm a little crazy because I'll be posting a whole bunch of stuff on my page, like my Instagram page, and people have told me that, yo, you're not afraid that they're gonna take your track like right off of Instagram, and somebody's gonna use it or whatever, because people will do that.
Right.
And I don't know, I've gotten in such a creative space that I I work so often now that I don't even feel that way. Like I feel like I'm not really I don't feel threatened by that somebody will take my music, because I feel like I'm creating so much at the moment that I don't know. It just hasn't occurred to me. I used to think like that back in the days, though. Like more, I was more like, oh man, I can't let nobody hear this. Now with this, we're living in these Instagram times now, and everybody's constantly posting, showing what they got,
Mhm.
what they brought, their new video. So now I don't really think like that, but I used to think like that. I'm not really, I don't really feel like threatened that somebody's going to take my music at this point.
Cool, cool. So what's next for you? What's coming up? Projects that you can talk about? What's going on for the rest of the year for you?
Okay, well, we put out an album in November. Me and the one Chadio from Crew. I don't know if you're familiar with Crew. They came out their first album came out back out in 1997. They were signed to Def Jam through Chris Lighty and Violators, and they had a record called Just Another Case. And I don't know if they had a joint called Pronto.
Probably heard it, I'm sure.
You probably you probably saw this. People usually, when I
I
show them
definitely
this,
seen that. Yep, definitely.
that's okay. So that's the infamous logo of Crew.
Yeah.
They're from the Bronx. I'm
Mhm.
working with the one Chadio. We just did a project together in November. We're in the studio working on another project. We got a few nice features on there, and we're just working. So I got that project coming up in the summer, and then I'm doing an instrumental beat project with Nutso.
Oh,
We
that's
split the
dope.
beats on it. Yeah,
Right.
it's an instrumental. It's called the instrumentals for MCs, and people could just go on there and do their thing.
That's
So it's
cool.
kind of like a free fall. We putting out some tracks out there, and if you want to rock with them, you rock with them.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. So if artists or other producers or anyone's trying to get in contact with Cee Da Cuban, how can they do that?
They can hit me up on the Instagram at CeeDaCuban. They could definitely reach me there, or tag me or whatever. They could get me on there. That's a sure way. Hit me on the DM or whatever, and then if we connect, then obviously I'll give you my email and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're actually working.
Right. That matters, right?
Yeah, man. These flyby.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta be doing
And
your thing.
before you go to real quick, how do you feel about the female artists, rappers, pretty much all over radio now? Now, don't get me wrong, everything is not hot because some of it's very disappointing. But just coming from someone who's been in the industry for, a while, how do you feel about women actually getting their just due, I would say?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, I really honestly think that if there wasn't women in hip hop, they'd be a big void up to today. It's like you said, yeah, obviously might not like everything that's going on now from
Right.
a female MC, perspective, but I've seen like certain females coming back out, like Salt and Pepper. I see she doing something with Eric Sermon.
Yes, I heard that. So
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually
So
how I like it.
yeah, exactly. MC Light,
Yeah.
there's a few females. Antoinette from back in the
Right.
days. I know she's doing a few things. Like, nah, it's dope. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to working with a female MC. I just haven't run across, or it just hasn't happened yet. But I would like to. I just haven't recently done anything. You know what I mean? It just hasn't happened.
Right.
But I would enjoy it, and I would, if it happens, that'd be nice.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for stopping by. Highly respected. Like I said before,
Likewise, Miss
um,
Streetz.
this is an interview that I wanted to do. I love talking to producers. Producers are an important key to the music itself. So thank you for your contribution to hip hop and your continuous contribution as well, and just keeping it going. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you. I like that shirt too. That sweatshirt.
Thank
Nice.
you. Yes. Rest in
Got
peace,
it.
PIG.
Yeah, that's a dope one. Match you matching.
Yes, thank you. So yes, see the Cuban. Thank you again.
Thank you, Miss Street. We'll be in touch. Thank you.